if you're going to go show somebody a property, know where you're going, know the streets, know something about the area, what's going on in the area, and give somebody something to go away with. Why is this the place for them to live?
I'm Maud Leger, and this is the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we crack the code to real estate success. Learn from realtors, entrepreneurs, and innovators about how to grow your business as we discuss real estate success stories, mindset, processes, motivations, and the key to their success. Check out our podcast episodes every Monday to crack the code to success for your real estate business. This week, I'm speaking with Heather Doucette from Crush Doucette at RE/MAX. Heather's key to success comes from the basis that knowledge is power. She believes in building relationships with clients, doing your research, being knowledgeable, and treating other realtors professionally. She defines success and a successful transaction by this all. So let's get to my chat with Heather. Hi, Heather. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us, what is the key to your success?
I think it's personality, having somebody wants to feel like they can trust someone, because this is like one of their biggest, obviously, investments in their life. And they want to make sure that whoever's taking care of it has their best interests at heart.
Nice.
So if if they can trust you and they truly feel that that's what you're doing, I think that's where I get all my referrals from. That's how I win a lot of my listing presentations too.
Yeah. What do you bring to the listing presentation that makes them trust you, I guess?
Confidence. And I think that people can just read that it comes from the heart, right? I don't just go out there with like a sales pitch and, give them the whole, like everybody hears like, I'm number one or I'm number, I just try to give them what I can offer them, how I'm going to communicate with them. So many people can say that they communicate, but they don't really. And I make sure that I'm always in touch with them, even after the transaction.
Nice.
So a lot of my referrals or testimonials come like I'm there even afterwards, like the sale's done, but I'm still around.
Yeah.
So that they know it's just not about a paycheck.
That's really cool. I like that, to keep in touch after the fact. It's not just it ends and it's over and
Right.
move on. Nice. What motivates you in real estate? What gets you up in the morning?
What gets me up in the morning? I guess I'm always interested to see, what's changed, how the market is changing.
Yeah.
Right now, obviously, we've seen such a huge change this year.
Yeah.
So when you get on, everybody's really confused right now. It's almost impossible to, not impossible, but it's really difficult to price housing right now, because some of the houses will like oddly sit there and then a lot of them are just blasting out. So it's a very unique market, but I guess, you wake up every day and you get to see the changes. And it's always changing well. It's interesting.
It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Paul gets me up in the morning. Every day at 9 o'clock, I get my morning phone call.
Yeah, get up, get to work.
That's about it.
How do you, like right now, it's a challenging market, like you said. How do you close more deals? How do you make sure your listing closes or actually sells once you have it up on the market?
Again, if you price it right, and I always tell people it's just not necessarily like some people have the assumptions that, if you price really high, maybe we'll get a lot of money. And that's never really the way to go. The way to price it is to get more exposure. Right. So the more people that you have out there looking at it, the more interest that you'll get. And that's when you're probably going to do the most. So you definitely want to make sure that you're, pricing well. And pricing to get a lot of exposure. Mm-hmm. We like to do a lot of extra marketing in the neighborhood, in the area. We reach out, we do a lot of blasts, social media blasts, we do email blasts. We just make sure that we're speaking to absolutely everybody that could be potential.
Nice. Do you have any resources where you blast your listings online, or tricks and tips that you do during?
Well, remax.ca blasts a bunch of stuff overseas. We also are in magazines. We do a lot of like social media, Facebook posts, etc. too. We send out to all the databases and as many agents as we can. We have like a database of agents too, and we blast out the listing, coming soon, stay tuned ahead of time just to get them a little bit of excited. And then we try to send it again, like, it's live, just in case they missed it the first time.
Yeah, very cool. How do you market yourself when you don't have a listing? What do you do?
You're being a part of a certain community. Like I'm a member at at a club here in the area, play a lot of tennis. I'm very social.
Nice.
I speak to a lot of people. So you bring up, what do you do? They, ask questions, you get into it, you ask people where they live, you can mention something that you know about that, pocket or some interesting information to give them.
Smart.
And that gets them sort of professionally attracted to you too.
Yeah, nice. That's very smart. Knowing the area, right?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah. What would be 3 actions that you did in your career that generated the most success for you?
I really like doing open houses.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to do them much in the last year and a half.
Hmm.
But aside from obviously it taking up a good portion of my Saturdays and Sundays, so it's been great having that time off. I've really excelled at open houses because I like to put on a little bit of a presentation. It's your time to talk about what you know in the neighborhood, anybody that's coming through. I think that again, my personality and the ability for people to feel comfortable with me and trust me comes out when they see me or meet me at an open house.
Yeah.
It's just generally establishing, relationships that click.
Yeah, very cool. So you get that knowledge, that connection, that relationship from being out.
I'm trying to call someone. They don't know. It's very difficult to trust somebody when you call, but it's much easier when you see them face to face, like the body language, the eye contact that I give, the information that I offer them.
Hmm.
Certainly gives them a much better idea of professionally where I'm at.
Yeah, I like that. Very cool. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Boy, well, again, I'll, my initial mentor that I worked with, he was just brilliant. And I go back to that where you'll probably hear me repeat, like knowledge is power.
Mm.
So he always said to me, don't know where you're going, know the streets, know something about the area. If you're going to go show somebody a property, make sure you've done your research about that, area, like, oh, that house sold over there for that amount of money, last month or 6 months ago, like to make sure that you know as much about the area or as much about what you're, plan on showing them. I'm really fortunate because I have a relationship with like a builder in the area, and I'm around him quite a bit enough to hear some of the things that he mentions. So when I take people into homes, I have a little bit more idea of what to look for.
Yeah.
Which adds a lot too.
That's really cool. Again, it's the same thing over, but
Yes.
as a model. That's like your business model.
So it was that knowledge is power. And if you, don't take the wrong street, make sure you know where you're going, make sure you're not getting lost, make sure you know the area, make sure you know what's going on in the area, and give somebody something to go away with. Why is this the place for them to live?
Nice. Do your research before. And I guess now, after many years, how long have you been a realtor?
I've had a very successful 4.5 years.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Very
It
good.
was working with the right people and just being a sponge to their information and what they had to offer.
Yeah, I like that. Being a sponge for knowledge. Very cool.
I think this is a really frustrating profession. I think it's been a pretty easy year for most of us, the ones that are obviously doing work, because the listings have been selling so quickly.
Yeah.
So, I think we've come to find that there's a lot of less, it's usually like the top, 10% are doing the most amount of work. We've seen a lot. I think we're going to find when the market takes a shift down, you're going to see all the, more of the familiar names coming out again, all over. Because it's going to take a lot more. So it has been, an easier year to sell. I have to say it's been quite an enjoyable year to sell and still obviously be successful. But there's something to be said for that. But there's something to be said for those years that it's not as easy. That's when you really, really develop your skills.
Yeah, you really put in the effort to market.
Yeah, and you have to develop. It's not just as simple as putting a sign up and having conversations. Like, you really need to sharpen those like skills on making decisions at the right time, guiding the sellers or the buyers at the right time in the right way.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, makes perfect sense. What's a successful realtor for you? What's the definition of success in real estate?
I think, again, it's referrals, and it's relationships. I think my success, like, I don't think that there's very many, most agents I've worked with love working with me.
Nice.
And I think if you're working with another agent and they say, wow, this has been a great experience, I think that's success.
Nice.
I think that if everybody's happy, that's a successful transaction. Not everybody's going to be over the moon, but I think as long as is really happy, that's a successful transaction, along with whoever's cooperating with you or whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
And I think the best realtors out there fall that way. I've worked with agents before and I've been like, wow, you're really difficult. And they're like, they're top agents that have teams. They're you see on the back of a bus or at the side of the bus. And I'm like, obviously they're pretty successful. They're putting a lot into marketing, but they think by being difficult and pushy or a bully, they think that that's their way of, no, that's success because I'm making something happen. But it really isn't. Like, it's going to work for a small number, but it's not going to work for most.
No, it's got to work for everybody. The buyers, the seller, and both agents. You're all sitting at the table looking at each other, trying to.
And I think that they will always keep a plateau. And I think the ones that like work on their relationships are just going to continue to take it upward.
Nice. I really like that. It's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Where do we find you? What's your contact?
You find me in Port Credit most of the time.
Nice.
Paul and I really focus on Port Credit. We've been doing really well. We're definitely in the top 3 and 4 in Port Credit with all the teams, all of the brokerages. We love the area. Nice. Paul's was pretty much raised there, and I spend a lot of my time there. So you'll find us in and around Port Credit area. So awesome. Crush Doucette.
Crush Doucette. We'll put that in. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all of this.
Okay, thank you. No problem. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for joining. Subscribe to our podcast, Realtors Conspiracy, today.